Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of It's News to Me. I'm your host, Lori Melbourne. This week, we will be highlighting important events happening right here in our community. There's a new theater company in town. If you haven't heard of Kane Repertory Theater yet, you are sure to be hearing about it soon enough. Founders Daniel Kramer and Avery Bound have hit the ground running with their upcoming production scheduled for October shows. Their artistic vision and creative enthusiasm is coupled with a strong business sense. This new theater company is full of ambition to create high-quality productions while promoting community. These two gentlemen are sure to knock it out of the park. More information will be available soon, so stay tuned as the details will be forthcoming. The city of Batavia, dating from the 1830s, is rich with history and tradition. Many of the downtown's locally quarried limestone buildings are the remains of a bustling manufacturing town, including the Newton Wagon Company, founded in 1854, according to an article by Batavia Main Street. Soon thereafter, windmill manufacturing became the industry of choice with three factories: the Appleton, the Challenge, and the U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company, contributing to Batavia's recognition as the leading windmill manufacturer in the world by 1890. You can learn all about windmills, Mary Todd Lincoln's stay at Bellevue, and much more with a visit to the Depot Museum, located on Houston Street on the Depot Pond. Many models of Batavia's windmills are displayed during a self-guided walking tour. A beautifully illustrated guidebook is available at the Batavia Main Street office, or see the windmills along the Riverwalk. Annually, Batavia Main Street hosts an award-winning house tour that highlights historic, unique, and other representative residents of Batavians. Dine in one of Batavia's many eclectic restaurants, some in historical buildings renovated for your enjoyment. Now, let's go to the park bench.
Hello, I'm Sarah Hager, Summer Marketing Intern at the Batavia Park District, and welcome to the Park Bench. Today, I'm bringing you news from Hall Quarry Beach. It's hard to believe that our River Rhapsody concert series is almost over. There's still one chance left to catch one of these exceptional outdoor performances on Wednesday, July 31st. Close out July with Final Say, a group whose repertoire extends from the beginning of rock and roll through today's hits. The show will begin at 7 p.m. at the Riverwalk. Don't forget to come hungry to enjoy hot dogs and other concessions from Bernie's Bully Dogs. Afterwards, stick around for a family movie Under the Stars. Ralph Breaks the Internet will be shown at the Peg Bond Center lawn and will begin at approximately 8:30 p.m. Both the concert and the movie are free to the public. Show off your cooking skills at the 27th Annual State Championship Chili Cook-Off. The event will be hosted at the Riverwalk on Saturday, July 27th, with festivities beginning at 1:30 p.m. In addition to traditional entry, this year's competition will feature two new categories: Junior Division and Community Organization Division. Don't want to compete? Come to eat. Tasting spoons will be available in exchange for a $5 suggested donation. Not interested in chili? Compete in one of our cool-off activities, including a watermelon eating contest, hot sauce tasting competition, or fire hose challenge. July is slowly coming to a close, which sadly means so is this year's Quarry season. Say farewell to summer 2019 at our So Long Summer and Swim event on Friday, August 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. Kick off the last weekend of public swimming here at Hall Quarry Beach with family games, extended hours, and more. Thank you again for a fantastic summer. It's time to gather your neighbors, scout groups, family members, and teammates to spruce up our local parks. The Batavia Park District and Batavia Parks Foundation invite you to join us at West Main Community Park from 8 a.m. to noon on August 3rd for Park Cleanup Day. We will provide all the tools, just bring your own gloves. Water and snacks will also be provided. Interested? RSVP to KDD at bataviaparks.org at least 1 week prior to each cleanup day. Can't join us in August? Save the date for another cleanup day at the Riverwalk on October 5th. It may be hard to believe, but August is right around the corner, with the new school year approaching fast. With the return of school also comes the return of Kids Club. This dynamic and successful program provides before and after school activities for children grades K through 5. The before-school program hours are 6:30 to 8:45 a.m., and the after-school hours are 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. This year, Kids Club will be offered at 5 schools: Hooverwood, Grace McWayne, J.B. Nelson, H.C. Storm, and Louise White. The program's philosophy is to offer the student opportunities and experiences that are both enriching and recreational and encompass both school and family value systems. We can't wait for you to join the club. Registration closes August 5th and will reopen again once the school year begins. Further details can be found at bataviaparks.org. Thanks for a great July, Batavia. We can't wait to enjoy the last few weeks of summer fun with you. Be on the lookout for the release of our Fall Fun Guide, and we'll see you next time on the Park Bench.
Thank you. Batavia Around the Block and Business Nuggets are brought to you in partnership with Batavia Neighbors Magazine. If you are interested in agility, but aren't really up to it for yourself, perhaps your dog would be better suited to take lessons at DePaw Dog Agility 101 for fun. Located at DePaw Canine Campus, 100 South Glengarry Drive, Geneva, there are no size, breed, or age restrictions. It is an energetic team sport and great exercise for dogs and owners. Space is limited to 8 registrants and vaccination records must be shown. Contact 630-232-8663 or stop in to register. Batavia Mothers Club Foundation will be hosting their 34th Autumn Craft and Vendor Show at Batavia High School, October 19th. The foundation is currently looking for participants who wish to sell their artisan gifts at the event or provide donations for the charity raffle. Proceeds from entry, the raffle, and ever-popular bake sale will go to support community organizations and schools. At its last disbursement open house, Batavia Mothers Club Foundation granted a total of nearly $38,000. Learn more about the Mothers Club Foundation at the upcoming open house in the downtown Batavia Panera on August 27th, 7 to 9 p.m., or visit Craft Show at bataviamothersclub.org. Thank you again to Neighbors Magazine for keeping us informed. Now, let's check in with Patricia Leonard at Batavia Public Library.
Hello, I'm Patricia Leonard, Promotional Services Manager at the Batavia Public Library. Fun, free, and air-conditioned, 3 good adjectives for summertime activities at the library. If you're looking for a cool place to hang out this summer, then the library is the place. This summer, adults can take art, genealogy, computer classes, and enjoy a variety of musical entertainment. On Monday, July 22nd at 7 p.m., Grace Ann Simone, a redesign specialist, will present Use What You Have Decorating. She will teach you how to give any room a fresh look by using the wonderful things that you already have, but maybe have in the wrong place. Register by calling us at 630-879-1393, extension 200. In July and early August, teens can get out of the house and into the library to play board games, try to outwit our library escape room, make a craft, or learn how to create a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. And in our Youth Services Department, it's showtime at the library all summer long. We have dance classes, family movies, a balloon animal workshop, moonflight adventures, crafts, story times, and plenty of games. If you have not yet gotten your summer reading club log, pick one up in the library or download one from our website at bataviapubliclibrary.org. And as you read this summer, fill out your log and return it for a reward and a chance at the end of summer prize drawings. To get more information or register for a class, call us at 630-879-1393 or register online at bataviapubliclibrary.org. I hope to see you at the library this summer.
Thank you, Patricia. St. Charles officials know a community's brand is crucial to its success. That's why 2 long-standing organizations have merged to create a stronger, more efficient marketing and tourism group, the St. Charles Business Alliance. For years, the Downtown St. Charles Partnership and the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau have acted as the city's promotional arms, each with its own niche for driving commerce, according to the Daily Herald. Both work out of the St. Charles Municipal Center and receive annual financial contributions from the city. But while the partnership aimed to preserve the character and enhance the economic viability of the downtown, the Bureau marketed the area as a destination for getaways, conferences, and major events. By joining forces, Alliance Director Jenna Sawicki said the two organizations are able to leverage their individual strengths while singing from the same songbook. Brand development, hotel engagement, marketing strategies, and sales successes were among the goals added to the Alliance service agreement with the city. St. Charles Business Alliance leaders have already hit the ground running on creating new volunteer groups, including one for Scarecrow Fest and another for hotel outreach. They'll also be working with hotels to provide guests with a list of recommendations for restaurants, events, live entertainment, or other authentic St. Charles experiences. With downtown Geneva turning into a virtual art gallery during the Geneva Arts Fair this weekend, the Geneva Police Department announced that a section of South 3rd Street will be closed during the festival, according to the City of Geneva's website. The fair will be held from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, July 27th to 28th. To accommodate the event setup, 3rd Street from James to South Streets will be closed to traffic and parking starting at 4 p.m. Friday, July 26th. No parking signs will be posted Friday afternoon. If vehicles remain on South 3rd Street after 4 p.m., the police department will have them towed from downtown. South 3rd Street is expected to be reopened to traffic by Sunday night. Enjoy Geneva Arts Fair. Please call the City Chamber of Commerce, the Geneva City Chamber of Commerce at 630-232-6060 or visit the Chamber's website for more information. Now it's time for Municipal Minutes.
Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me as I raise my voice. I decided to begin this little journey here and just suggest that you look around to the land uses that surround us here and across the street. First, I'd point out that where Riverside Pizza now is was the original site of the Jewel grocery store in downtown Batavia. And that was, when they closed this up and moved to Randall Road, this was the smallest Jewel in the entire fleet in 1991, I guess that was, or thereabouts, when we moved out there. And so then Walgreens moved in, and then Walgreens got so enamored with us here that they made the decision to build a much bigger and larger store with drive-through windows and whatever. So that's an opportunity. So then now this is, Riverside Pizza seems to be doing a bonkers business. They're one of our new restaurants. They tell me their business is overflowing to them. Many times they have waiting lines outside the door. So that's all good news to have. There's a vacant space, about a half of the old Walgreens store is yet to be developed, but Batavia Enterprises has got people out working to try to find something in there. Then next door to it here we got Panera Bread, and Panera's new model is, I'm just saying this to you, they have a drive-through window as part of their business operation. So I've been asked by folks involved over the years, is there any potential for them to have a drive-through window at this location? I don't know the answer to that, but there's an alley out back. There's some other things that could be done, but that's just an idea. Another thing I would point out is across the street here we have two banks. We have Fifth Third and we have BMO Harris. And those were a part of the original downtown redevelopment in the early 1960s when the old livery stable burned down and this area got filled in, and the river used to run there alongside the east side of the Harris Bank there. And now what we are experiencing is right now in Batavia we've already had two of the downtown bank buildings closed. Chase has shut down their building and Fifth Third is about to shut theirs down on August 30th. The supposition is that there's the bank world, and Alderman Chancellor can speak to this better than I can, but the banking world is changing and it's becoming kind of a paperless operation. So they may need a drive-through window, but they don't need the big walk-in lobby banks anymore. So if you were to ask me to stand here and predict what is going to change in the next 3 to 5 years, I would probably look across the street there. And they haven't told me that they're leaving yet, but I would think that that's a real possibility that could change. And that could be another great opportunity for something else to come in here. So let's just kind of keep all this in our mind as we go forward here today. But very interesting situations right across the street, and a kind of very interesting situation exists right here. And I think Panera is a golden nugget for us to have in downtown Batavia. There's a lot of people that go in there every day, get their lunch or coffee or whatever have you. So there'd be a lot of people who'd be crying if this thing were to move. But I know that they would be very interested in having a drive-through window. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, as we stop here in this corner, we are in what I would describe as the land of the Dempseys. They own much of what you see immediately surrounding us here, including all that over there and this here. And they have major investments in this block here that is yet to be built upon. I think I've seen some exciting ideas for this block right here, going up to Batavia Avenue and putting some retail on the first floor and then going up with some other uses. And there's a lot of room there. This is one of the bigger development lots we have in the community. It's some great opportunities. It's a multi-level. It's on the side of a hill, so it would facilitate an easy construction of a multi-level parking structure. There's a lot of different stuff that could happen here, and we do have, honestly, people who are doing drawings and talking to us, and I think we all may be talking about something here in the near term, things going on. One of the more interesting things that happened here, though, was the development of, this whole area with Water Street Studio and whatever. Kiss the Sky opened up their musical store here, and then for a while they were going to move to Aurora, and now I understand they've made a decision they're going to stay around here for a while. So I don't know what that means. I don't want to be quoted as saying anything. But we do have this Water Street Studio, and that really has turned into kind of an artist destination for the western suburbs. And they've got some interesting ideas to deal with this area right where we're standing. And Alderman Beck has been involved in those discussions. You want to come up and tell us a little bit about what they want to talk about doing here?
Yeah, so I've met with Danny a handful of times. I came to her because as a mom that would walk this way to get downtown, crossing over here where the intersection is so rounded and so wide, once you start crossing with a 3-year-old on his bike, the road may be clear. By the time you're midway through, a car could be zooming down the hill at you or zooming up the hill. So I went to Danny after looking at a number of ideas that are out there in the world for how you calm traffic. And a lot of them incorporate public art. So I thought, what a great partnership with Kiss the Sky and our Water Street Studios to get some more public art down here and use it as a traffic calming method. That has spun into this whole placemaking, public art is placemaking project called Activate the Alley. So during Second Fridays specifically, when they have their gallery openings, we are going to be transforming a few of these parking spots in some of this area in the alley into a little parklet. Has anybody ever heard of a parklet before? You take just the area of a parking spot and you activate it. You make it a seating area, you give it some activity, you make it a place that the community wants to come and hang out. And so much can be done in just the size of a parking space. There is a National Parking Day in September, which we're kind of tossing around the idea of trying to get some participation here in Batavia. But these parklets could then be used elsewhere in town, perhaps out in front of a coffee shop that wants more seating areas, a little pop-up artisan shop that lives for a period of time. But this is where we're going to kind of pilot that idea. So the idea is nothing is finalized design-wise, but there are ideas being tossed around for string lights going over the area, maybe a canopy so that the artists could come out and actually sit out there during the day and work outside, using it as kind of a beer garden space when they do have their events going on. So we're going to be, we have a grant from the Community Foundation for a lot of the placemaking materials and seating and activity and lighting and stuff like that. And we're just working on the final design right now. And then the hope is too that we get more people from the Second Friday event that are going on inside Water Street Studios, their Second Friday programming all over town. So the conversation is still going on about how we get people safely from Water Street Studios where there is no sidewalk or crosswalk out and into downtown Batavia safely. And that is what we're still working on. Any questions?
It's an idea that the staff I know is pursuing research on it. Alderman Beck has been very point out that originally right alongside here, this was the railroad track that went into the old U.S. Wind Engine and Pump Company, which was the windmill factory, which was these buildings. And then later Pamarco moved into the south end of it, and they kind of took over. And in 1981, when the first effort was made to recite the bicycle trail through here, the actual railroad track ran right down the middle of Water Street here. It came zeroed in and then came over here and went right alongside the buildings in this alley. So, and then it went down to the area right there by the quarry entry road, and then so most of it was turned into a bicycle trail except for this urbanized area here. And now because the bicycle trail is here, and we do get on good weekends thousands of bicycle visitors in town, I could see where this alley could play real well to the support and the appearance and the activities of Batavia, that this would blend very, very well with the bicycles. And so one of the things I know we have to work on is some safe crosswalks here, because this is you've got a hill with a curve on it, then you got, another hill coming down. We've already widened this street at least once in a previous FAU project. But these are all the areas that I would suggest that maybe we'll have some TIF action at some point in time, maybe to do some stuff here, because some of this won't be done without spending some money, and so we just have to have the opportunity. But this is exciting stuff in my opinion, because I think this probably could solidify the future of downtown Batavia, this part of town, for the next 30, 40 years. So, one thing I would again call your attention to, I think we're going to have a lot of conversations over the next few months about this block right here. And one of the things, interestingly, last week, Laura and I entertained the mayor and the city administrator from Western Springs. I already said this to you at the city council meeting. We had them here for a tour of Batavia. They were nice enough to let us come to their town and see. They are building a building, 4-story or 5-story mixed-use building in downtown Western Springs as we speak. And what's really ironic about it is if you go to Western Springs, and if you're over there sometime, I'd encourage you to go in and look. This brand new building is right there, and right next to that building is Abe and Doc's twin. I mean, the building is the same color brick, the same use, the same everything. And it's right there next to it in Western Springs, so they were very interested to come and see this. So I think this is all part of, none of this happens overnight, as I found out many years ago, and some of this conversation we're having now maybe 3 to 5 or 6 years away in the future. But I think the idea and the momentum and the vision is there that all this can be attained. And from a historical perspective, all this area right here is very, very historic. This is one of the leading windmill factories. The area to the immediate east here was where the second channel of the river was, and they used a lot of that water power to help build the early windmills. And then right behind us here, and what we will point out as the vacant site for Shumway's, was where Shumway's Foundry was the spot where the first Academy awards were made. And that's when we do something there, we're going to put a plaque up that says that this is where the Academy Award was first conceived, was right here in downtown Batavia. And they made the statues there for a number of years at Shumway Foundry. So we got some interesting history. We got Mary Todd Lincoln, and we got some very interesting things here. We got the moon landing over in the council chambers. We got a great history tour here, but this is just one of the key buildings. That's why from a historical perspective, I think this building is well worth saving. And Water Street's done a very nice job of putting together uses and events in there that kind of feeds to the building. So it's worked very well. So, all right, we're going to walk down here. Be careful till we get past the building here, because we're on a... Just a brief moment of Batavia history. The islands down here were originally redeveloped about 1931 by the Million Conservation Corps, which had a camp down at just south of where Funway is today. And they came in and they totally rebuilt the islands because they were all starting to wash away, and they secured them with walls or rock or whatever. Then they built the bridges that connect so you can go across on a bike, or a pedestrian can walk from the east side to the west side. And there's a little band shell down there in the middle of the island. if you've never been out there, that is one of the more unique settings of nature that we have in Batavia. So that's very historic, and another 10 years we'll be observing the 100th anniversary of this kind of the community park. But when you stand on the Wilson Street Bridge and look south, this is what you see, this area. Now, one thing I do want to give our Public Works a lot of commendation to. We were starting to have a pretty bad problem of this erosion of this bank here. And so Gary and his crews really went to work, and we've rebuilt and solidified this bank here right behind the building here so that we don't wash it any further away. So that this is really, it's nicely done. If you look at it from the other side of the river, it's very picturesque. I would suggest that that's the type of bank stabilization that we may want to do in the future for other parts of the river bank, because it really does, I think, blend itself to the nature and the history with the limestone and everything else. So it's a very nice thing to have there. This was the second phase of the Riverwalk that we're standing on right now. We built the first phase, which is the area around City Hall, and then we had all this, and we had some money left over, so we just went ahead and ran it down here, and this was all put in by the volunteers on Saturday mornings over about a 4 or 5 year period, and we got it down to the islands, and so we made this into a usable park now, and people ride bicycles on it. But I have a lot of people tell me they really enjoy the setting down here because, previously when it was just public works activity here, there was piles of gravel and poles and everything sitting around. It wasn't a very usable area, and now we've, I think, made it into a very attractive park setting. So it's on the other side of the river over there is the area that was donated largely by Phil Elstrom with his money he left to the Batavia Park District. I'm hoping that someday they can clean off the bank there, because that would make a nice appearing area there, but right now there's a lot of undergrowth over there. But that could be, again, another area. The bike trail runs right through the middle of it, and there is some very positive things happening over there. So the Park District inherited enough money from Phil that there's more money to acquire more property over there as it becomes available. And I think that will be their intention. So, and that was what Phil wanted done with it. So there's just a lot of stuff. Somebody asked Gary about the electrical. These lines over here, I know, are some of the big Commonwealth Edison lines that run through Batavia. One time I was told this is one of the backup lines going into Geneva. And one time we had a fire up at the Challenge buildings on North River Street, and it got up into those wires and burned some of them. And we didn't have any electrical problems in Batavia, but right away Geneva started screaming they had a bunch of power outages because those lines were damaged in that fire in Batavia. So I know that that is a very used Commonwealth Edison line, and probably it's a backup to us too. So it's probably not a lot that you can do with it, but there's a lot of power on those lines over there.
All right, Mayor,
Yeah.
I think before you walk any further, I want to mention the fact that you can see the river now.
Right.
A few years ago, this was all overgrown in here, all the way up and down here, along with behind what used to be Larson and Becker. And thanks to the mayor and his push to keep it maintained, this is now what we have. Because a couple, even just 2 or 3 years ago, you couldn't walk out here. It was full of poison ivy and it was weeds this high. So.
Well, thank you. But I mean, this really is one of the jewels of Batavia, this area down there. And I would hope that whatever happens here in the future, it will sustain the history and really take advantage of some very picturesque area and really help us kind of highlight ourselves even more than we are. All right, let's walk up the Riverwalk. Okay, this is obviously we're on the back side of the East Side Business District, and all these buildings are well in excess of now 100 years of age in some form or fashion. Several of them have been heavily remodeled, but one of them that's going to have a change here fairly quickly is the bank up here in the corner, which are where the 2 drive-through windows are, and they've announced that they're going to be closing this bank down and moving everything to the other bank out on Randall Road. So I think this really is an interesting opportunity. Is Mr. Marconi still here? There you are. Do you want to say anything about the building?
It's a great building, but realistically, do we think it's going to be a bank again? I think, as the mayor said, I think those days are probably past, and so what's it going to be next? And we're excited about what it's going to be next. We showed it once to a brewery company that wanted to bring in a brewery/restaurant. And with what's happening across the street and up the street, I think this is more becoming a foodie area. But once they're out in the end of October, I think we could do some really neat things in there for the holidays, some pop-up markets, which would take advantage of what's happening on River Street. And what we'd love to figure out is a way to make this parking lot look better.
Right, well, you just segued me into my next comment.
You're going to make it look better?
Well, needless to say, Laura and I get in the car about every 3 weeks, and we ride around and we come back here, and there's a lot of moving parts to this right now. But, I'm back here weeding these grasses, and I was in here today and we took out a bunch of stuff that was here by the dumpsters and everything, cleaning stuff out. This is probably one of the most underutilized parking areas in the town right now because it's not well defined, designed. I think we need to come in here, and you own part of it, the city owns part of it, and I don't know who, the Park District, I guess they got.
I thought that, does the Park District still own these spots, or do you own them?
We traded them.
We swapped.
So we got all this moving stuff here. So everybody at the table in this game is all friendly. You're standing here, I'm standing here. These guys are all going to be probably getting to vote on something. But, whether it's some kind of a TIF or we got some money, we really need to focus, my opinion, in the next year of getting this thing really cleaned up. This could be a much more dynamic resource to the community, and with the farmers market and the stuff happening on River Street and everything else that's going on here, this really could be a dynamic place.
Totally agree with you.
So I'm glad you're here tonight because I'm trying to get everybody in the mindset that this is one of the moments of opportunity right here.
Well, I heard you were going for a walk and exercise. I just ate dinner at the Gammon Coach House.
Okay.
Serves a great purpose.
Good. So we got a lot of positive spin here, but this is one of the places that really is begging to be repaved and remarked and beautified.
I just got a bid yesterday to grind it out. But again, the challenge is, so the property you own, to give you an idea, I know, it's right here, straight up. We have an easement, and then straight that way. So this is the big L. So together we could fix this, and we could re-landscape it and make it look really nice. And then one day I'll take you upstairs and I'll show you plans my dad had.
We got this building here we've just sold to a couple, and they're doing some stuff.
It sounds like they're doing a great job in this.
So we've got a lot of stuff happening here. So we're all excited about things that are...
We're getting ready to pull the trigger on doing a renovation project once we get permits and plans in the 10 East building.
Okay.
We have one of our current tenants who's thinking about relocating their whole operation in there.
Okay. Well, good. So,
need help with permitting?
I will.
Let's move up.
Still waiting.
Okay, we're standing on the infamous 1 North Washington Avenue condo parking garage retail development. It's kind of an L-shaped building that most of you standing here have taken some kind of a political courage moment and voted to approve this. And hopefully, even with some contaminated water in the ground, which doesn't mean nothing to the building at all, we'll get this underway fairly soon. It's ready to go. Then across the street on what used to be the old Rothacker gas station, that's all been taken down, and that's over there. And I guess we got somebody wanting to come in and talk to us about building a 3-story building on that one.
It's flexible, but 3 or 4 stories right now is what it's at. So,
when's he coming? Do we know?
We talked to him a couple months ago. We haven't heard from him recently. Maybe coming, I'm sure.
Okay.
What's the use?
Mixed use, commercial on the ground floor, garage, and then I think 3 levels of residential on top.
And that's a perfect location, because as we were told by John and Josephine, as you come down the street, you come down Washington Street, there's that building looking right at you. I mean, it's perfect. It's a great location. So
the Terminal Vista, as they call it.
There you go.
So again, like the other side of town, we are steeped in Batavia history here. The house across the street is the original Grimes house, which I believe was built in 1845. And then the school over here was built in 1893 to replace a similar school which burned down in January of 1893. And believe it or not, that's the building. We have it on tape. 60 Minutes came and did a 60-minute story about that building. because that's the building where during the early days of the Afghanistan war, the war in Afghanistan was being funded and run out of that building. And they were bringing military armaments in there with the aid of the CIA, and the guy that owned it had been the son of a missionary from Afghanistan, and the guy, his friend was back in Afghanistan, was the guy who was battling Osama bin Laden for control of Afghanistan. So he was buying all this armament in the United States and shipping it over there, and they concocted a scheme of buying cellular phones that they would take over there and rewire, and then they take them to Afghanistan and get in a battle with bin Laden, and they'd throw the phones on the ground and then leave with the idea that bin Laden would pick up one of the phones, use it, it would be intercepted by a satellite in the air, and then they would send in an airstrike to try to kill him. And that's what the 60 Minutes story was about. So that's right here. So here's another pretty historic moment. We may get a movie made about that one someday, but let's keep going. Okay, the reason I want to stop here for a moment is we're kind of standing in the middle of the quote-unquote One North Washington project. Give you an idea of how big this thing really is. When you drive by it on the street, many people don't realize the depth of it, but it goes back over here to this foundation where that vacant lot is, this parking garage, that's all part of the deal. So it is a big piece of property here at the end of the day. So if this gets built, the thing I like about it the most is the property taxes on this thing would be very, very supportive of Batavia. And it would be a real shot in the arm to have all these people living in the downtown to go to the restaurants and the other businesses. And I think it would bring a lot of nice traffic to the downtown Batavia. So hopefully we're still on board to do this. So now we're going to go down the stairs here. Please use the rail. For the old timers in the room in Batavia, when I was a kid, I grew up a block up the street here, and when I was a kid you couldn't walk in this area because there was all these farm tractors parked right here, and this was Thomas and Carlson Farm Machinery Sales lot. And the whole thing was tractors and wagons and combines and all this other stuff. This was all the farmers' areas. And then across the street was where Bar Evolution now is. This was a dairy bar, and then it became a pipe storage factory. And then where the parking lot was Larson and Becker, and they were into the pump and well business. And so this was kind of the rural area, and all the retired farmers, not retired, but everybody that was from the rural area would come in here because they could go to the farm implement repair shop, they could go across the street, find pieces of pipe for their wells, and it was just kind of Saturday morning, this whole thing used to be full of farm trucks, because all the farmers would come in there because this was the area. So the railroad track for the bike trail used to come right down here and went into the back of this building, because when they did milk in there at one time, they did pipes for plumbing, so there was a lot of need for moving stuff in and out in railroad cars, and that later became what is today the East Side Bike Trail. So again, we've kind of reinvented the neighborhood, reutilized the uses, and this really does have a very strong Batavia identity to it, because even people who lived here 50, 60 years ago, when they come back, and we've got some here this week because we got a bunch of class reunions going on, tell me, they say, can't believe how this has all got changed around, but you still know where you're at, because it's still, you can tell you're on River Street, but boy, you've certainly colored the place up. So anyway, it's all good stuff, but again, I think the next opportunity is we have to look at what we can do in the next block or two going north here. Because as you know, when we bought Larson and Becker, we also bought this side of the street until we get to that last house up there, which is now an office. But we own the shed building, and we own the garage next to it, and we own the vacant area. So I would suggest that the day should come when the city of Batavia will take that property, because it's sitting right there on the river, and we would offer part of that up for somebody to build a nice multi-use building, and then we would extend the bike trail up into this property, and then we would have a big enough lane for a big fire lane to go around and get trucks down in here if we needed them. That's one of the discussions we're having right now. and we could do it right on the riverfront here. And so there's some real opportunity here in the next few years to really do some creative things, I think. So I just suggest that Batavia really is at a turning point in its history. We've taken good advantage by our forefathers who have come before us to kind of hold on to this, because this does have a very unique identity to it. And I think to this point in time, we haven't done a lot wrong here yet. And we certainly have the opportunity here with the Chodine building and the other one across the street. And we have this one, and then the challenge further up the street, the gentleman that owns that, I think is probably going to be of a desire to want to turn that over some one of these days. And that could be another major redevelopment project. So we've really got some viability here on this street, unlike many other areas of the whole Chicagoland region. And the beautiful part about it is it's all right here on the river. And the river has never been totally utilized until rather recently. And I think people are now realizing what a valuable asset that is to the community. So what I guess I'm going to suggest is we're going to take Pike Bridge back across and go back into council chambers. But that's my tour for the night. I hope that you've all gleaned some insights as to what it is, the financials of this downtown moving on. I think they're fabulous. We really have the opportunity here that we've done some great things, but we can do even greater things in the days coming forward. Anybody got any questions or comments you want to make?
I'll just make one comment. I kind of get down as we were walking around. 36 bikes is people as we were going around and block.
And we just all have to learn how to share lanes.
Good to see them.
We get the bike commission to help us do that. All right, let's take a walk back over on the bridge.
Thank you, Mayor Schalke. And now, here is an interview from last week with the St. Charles Mayor. Now it's time for Lori's Oratory Soapbox, which gives you pertinent information on proper pronunciation. Featuring mostly words or phrases commonly mispronounced, I am here to guide you away from embarrassing faux pas. An element of spelling is involved, so you are getting a win-win. This next oratory tidbit concerns the name of a well-known, highly respected man in Kane County. In fact, he is so well received that he was elected the mayor of St. Charles, not just once in a landslide victory, but twice. Mayor Ray, as many call him, is a pillar in the community and in the school system. If you've met any of his former students, you will be sure to have heard what an awesome teacher, leader, and inspiration he has been in their lives and careers. The problem is, so many people unknowingly mispronounce his name. It's not Mayor Rogina or Ragina or Rogene. How do I know this? Mayor Ray was my teacher in high school, and I learned of his name directly from him. It's spelled R-O-G-I-N-A. And here to tell you the correct pronunciation is Mayor Ray himself. Welcome, Mayor.
How are you, Lori? Thanks for having me here.
Good.
And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to pronounce my name correctly. And it is Rogina.
Rogina.
That's correct.
Yes.
And, but I have to tell you that as mayor, I've heard exactly, with the possible exception of the French one you threw out there at the end. I've heard all the other ones, and it doesn't really bother me at all because all through my life, teachers and others have always alluded to those particular names, mispronunciations. So when somebody hits it on the head, I'm really thankful for that. But I will tell you this, that as a teacher and now as mayor, it's important actually, I think, to try your best to learn to pronounce somebody's name. And I'll give you some examples I'm talking about. You alluded to as a teacher in high school. I taught high school, and you know this because you were in my class, and your maiden name, Besh, was very easy to pronounce. I would make sure that first day I would ask students, give me the correct pronunciation of your name. So that, because I would never call them by their first name anyway, it was always Miss Besh.
Yes.
So, Mr. Jones. That's easy to pronounce. But on the difficult names, I made sure they corrected me if I mispronounced it the first day of class, and you tried your best. The other two examples I would give you, however, where I made sure that I was doing the correct pronunciation. I was blessed to be the announcer at St. Charles football games for 10 years.
Yes.
And in that time, I knew full well that the parents sitting in front of me rooting for the Saints or across the way rooting for the visiting team did not want their child's name to be mispronounced when they made a tackle, when they made a touchdown, when they kicked the extra point, or whatever.
Absolutely, yes.
So what I had to do was, before the game, go down to the track, particularly with the visiting team, and either get a cheerleader like yourself, I know you cheerleaded in high school, or the managers, and I would ask them, all right, I'm going to go through this list of names. Please give me the correct phonetic pronunciation. One of my favorites of all time, I still remember to this day. He played 2 years for Lake Park. And I looked at his name and I said, I better get the correct pronunciation. His name was Nana Ajiman.
No way.
And that's the way I said it when he bolted for 5 yards. 5 yards by Nana Ajiman. And they were very happy I pronounced it correctly.
Yes.
And if I didn't, they'd be pounding on the press box window, correcting me. The last one I would give you would be the fact that for a number of years, Mrs. Kathy Brenz and I would do graduation and announce the names. Now here's a place where you just cannot mispronounce a child's name.
Yes.
The grandparents are there, the parents are there, the uncles are there. They want to hear their child, and they want to scream and yell and send up a foghorn and the whole bit. So they would approach the microphone, and if I had any doubt, I would cover my hand, put my hand on the microphone, and I would say, pronounce that name for me. And they would. And for 15 years, Brenz and I had, I think, an impeccable record of never mispronouncing anybody's name.
Very
so that's important. And so I laud you for at least bringing this to the attention of people because, yes, we go on constantly mispronouncing simple names. And I know you've done this a couple times already, and so I appreciate this.
Yeah, well, that was, I've started this oratory soapbox, and you were one of the top names that I wanted to clear up because I've heard it, mispronounced
absolutely.
Many times. So, yes, and I think it's nice because people do want to know, and like you, they want to pronounce other people's names correctly too. And they probably, Mayor Ray is easy, but a lot of people will want to use your last name, and now we know it's Rogina. It's like rogue. It's like you're, I don't really think you're a rogue type of person.
Thank you for saying that.
But you do follow the rules and boundaries and laws, et cetera, et cetera. So, but Rogina, it kind of fits just to help someone say your name, although it is the opposite, I think, of you. So on top of all your mayoral duties, you've recently been a key figure on numerous episodes of The Wahlburgers.
Yes, I have. And I only want to say about that, and I thank Donnie Wahlberg. I did pronounce his name correctly. Yes. I want to thank him for really spotlighting St. Charles. I'm happy to be the conduit of sending a message about the Wahlburger concept and the fact they're building one here in St. Charles. And it puts St. Charles in a great light. And both he and Jenny have done that. And I appreciate that. I know the citizens of St. Charles appreciate it as well. Absolutely. It's been very exciting. The word on the street is it's quite exciting for all of us. So we appreciate you getting that all together and working on it with your city council. And I think it'll be a great asset to our town. And but I will tell you. Yes. I will tell you this. On the last episode that I was on, here's Donnie Wahlberg for on national television. Yes. And he says, and Mayor Rogina. and of course, I ride him on that every time. And I want to publicly now, if you're watching this, Donnie, forgive you for that. But yes, even Donnie Wahlberg on national television mispronounced my name. So these things happen, and you roll with the punches. There you go. Everybody does it.
but we appreciate you clarifying. It's Rogina. Okay. Now, clearly you've become a celebrity yourself, being on all these TV shows, and now, with the added correct pronunciation of your name, you're just going to put another notch in your TV belt and be moving up to...
Well, once again, I'll repeat that I do sometimes, just as a needle, will say that I deserve an Emmy Award for all this stuff. But
Yes.
in all kidding aside, I'm happy for St. Charles.
Absolutely.
Us doing these things to spotlight St. Charles and what a wonderful town we have is the key. And so to come on here, to do anything that promotes our businesses, our community, our great natural features of St. Charles, the Fox River, it's all wonderful. It's a great community, and that's why we call it the Pride of the Fox.
That's right. Well, there you have it. Now you can all go forth and confidently speak this fine gentleman's name. Plus, if you really want to sound like a St. Charles native, say Rogina. And everyone will think you're in the know and in command of your language skills. Thank you for contributing to my oratory soapbox, Mayor Rogina.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time and participation. That's all we have for today, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of It's News to Me. Most of our programming is viewable online at mybatv.com or on YouTube under the username BATV1017. Be sure to like our Facebook page to stay up to date on the station's current happenings. Thanks again for watching. I'm Lori Milbourne, and that's News to Me.